Hey everyone, it's the Sith Justice Warriors coming at you live on a lovely Sunday evening with your two hosts, Jaded Fan and Princess Lumpia.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, how's the WrestleMania going?
Oh, you know what? It's interesting because it's 2 days. It's like over the course of 2 days, which is different. And like it's nice because it gives you a breather in between. But the first night was kind of weird because they had a weather delay. Um, because in Tampa they have like all of these what is it, lightning? They're used to lightning, getting lightning there. So, but overall, it's going well. Let's put it that way. I'm enjoying it. Today's matches were really good. I felt like the matches were really good caliber. I mean, kudos to Randy Orton who opened up the show in the first match. So
Randy
yeah, more
Orton
to
still doing
see.
it?
Yeah, like I said, he is still kicking it, and Sirius, who's watching right now, was like, he's the greatest for me right now. He's the greatest. And I'm like, I agree he's good because, like, considering that he's still wrestling and some of the others are like John Cena, like going on and doing movies and stuff. But
Nah,
good for you, Randy Orton,
nah.
is what I'm saying.
We need a little. We need a little John Cena. That's sorry.
Too funny.
I had to just.
Anyway, yeah, so that's all. I think, like I said, I took a break to come and record because there's just a couple bits and bobs that happened this week I wanted to chat about. And I'll be on vacation next week, but I'll be recording from a distance, if you will,
On a sunny beach. Is that what you're gonna do it on?
on a sunny beach. Hopefully, if all
Nice,
goes well. Yeah.
nice. Alrighty, so we're gonna kick it off with the game news. I think we've seen an interesting article. So we've been praising the Xbox for their Game Pass, their gets of like Outriders and the incoming Bethesda games that will include one of the more anticipated games, Starfield. But there is an article which is an interesting take from the former God of War director to say that there would be a quote unquote counterpunch now to a counterpunch to Xbox Game Pass, which is going to be interesting because they do have their own service called PlayStation Now. But they've been
Yep.
saying that they're, David Jaffe's saying, I've said time and again, the people who are writing Jim Ryan, who's the head of PlayStation's obituary, are premature, blah, 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 blah. Sony doesn't owe anybody. The truth is what's coming and what's their counterpunch to Game Pass is. Basically, they've been teasing it.
Mhm.
And they actually, you know what they did respond with a AAA game that they have on PlayStation Now. Would you like to know what that is?
Yeah.
It's Marvel's The Avengers.
Oh boy. Oh boy. And
We're,
you know how we feel about that game. Even though, in all fairness, like I say, I caveat this. We have never played it. So I will
no,
caveat
yeah.
that. I will caveat that and I will own up to it. I've not played it. But I kind of don't know that I want to yet.
If it was on Game Pass, I'd try it. But it's
Exactly. If you put it on Game Pass, like if you want playership to increase, put it on Game Pass. Anyway, but I
well, I
digress.
mean, putting it on PlayStation Now would do effectively the same. I think the interesting thing is that uh, I, well, you know what? It probably is better it's on PlayStation Now because Spider-Man is never coming to the Xbox.
I'm
So if
surprised they didn't lead with Spider-Man. Like it's like, oh, but I guess they would lose too much.
no, no, no,
Like,
no, they you said that they didn't lead. You're talking about the lead character, right?
yeah, yeah, but anyway, it is a Sony. Like, yeah, anyway, I don't want to
No,
go down that
why
rabbit
would
hole.
you put a B tier character like Peter Parker underneath an A alpha level or omega level in terms of mutants, an omega level superhero like Kamala Khan? Why would you do that?
No clue. Absolutely no. It beats me. It really beats me. I have no words for it.
Yep. So, I mean, for you, I mean, what do you think? what do you think about the idea of what it could be? Because I mean, the only thing I could think of would be day and date of their exclusives, like their next God of War is day and date on their PlayStation Now service.
God of War makes sense to me because, yes, that's a true like PlayStation exclusive. If you think about it, besides Spider-Man, of course, like with the Spider-Man, like, and when I say Spider-Man, I mean like certain things about that game. I guess that would be the strongest game to do it with. But I don't know if there. See, this is the thing. I think it's a little bit of like, and I don't know the margins and things like that, but I feel like there's a bit of greed associated to this. Like, and it's very fair. You're in this for business, right? So if you think about it, these companies that make these games want to make a profit. So I don't know how much they get paid when a company like an Xbox or whatever buys the licensing for it to put it on a platform like a Game Pass. I don't know if it's lucrative enough versus them selling the digital or physical copy. And that's the piece that if I knew a little bit more, I feel like I could do like a quasi valuation in my head to see if it's worth it. But if I were them and they were doing a launch, you got to go with the heavy hitters, the things that people would want as part of it, to make the news, to break some waves. So that's what I would go for. I can't think of anything unless like there's a new Last of Us, or like, what's the other game that looked like Last of Us?
A lot of the PlayStation 4 games honestly look like that.
There's
Well,
another
not talking
game.
about like art, but the fact that they were over the shoulder, third person action. And I
There's
enjoyed some
another
like
game though that comes to my mind, and I'm drawing a blank.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Maybe
I mean, they
that's
all
the
look
one.
like they all are
They all
behind
kind of
children.
look like, yeah, they all kind of look like Last of Us. But no, there was one. Oh, it actually starred a guy from, was it Lord of the Rings or something? Oh
Which
my
one?
God.
Legolas?
Now I'm going to have to look it up. But anyway, continue before, but it looked like The Last of Us. It was about a guy who like, oh my God, you played it, but it wasn't a Sony exclusive, but it looked like The Last of Us. It looked like the same game maker as Last of Us. It was like about a guy who had his memory or something. I don't know. Anyway, don't listen to me. I'm going to have to look it up.
No worries, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's always good to have competition. And right now, I've got my Series X, PlayStation. Right now, I don't know if it's worth getting a PS5 right now, but maybe in the future I will. So, I mean, worst case, if PS Now allows me to play their games on PC, which I think they are slowly doing, I might subscribe to it. I just need more of a reason for it. But because right now the third party games are actually coming to Game Pass. PS Now has some, but not really a lot. It's just not. I think the problem for me is right now PS Now is not my ecosystem.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm probably holding for PS Now. But let's see. I mean, if they could just put like the next God of War on it, and I can play it on streaming with the PS4 or something, I'm willing to play it. I'm willing to buy into it for a few months. But we need it. We need competition.
No, and you need, like I said, you need a game that'll like get everyone excited to have it on a platform like that. And that's why I'm saying like it would be nice if it could be like a game that has so much hype that you just you're like, oh man, I'm going to play that game and I'm going to play it on PlayStation Now, kind of thing. So that's just my 2 cents. But then again, I'm not like all I'll be honest, I'm not a PlayStation 4 owner. I don't know if that like it would need to be, so I'll put it this way, for people who don't own a PlayStation, it would need to be enough to get me to go buy one, right? Because I don't own, the last PlayStation I have is the 3, and I was happy with that one, and I didn't see the need to go to 4. let alone 5 is compelling. What about Final Fantasy? The next, I guess the next section is coming out. The thing is, would Square Enix allow that? I don't know.
See, their business model is solely squared on this purchase your $70 now, pay $70 for each copy. Microsoft's infrastructure is based on subscription now. I don't know. That's where a question for Sony is: can they handle going on a subscription based revenue versus um, going on a case to copy by
Yeah, like
copy
versus
basis?
by copy, and that's why I was saying there's a bit of like math. I say that has to happen in the background because someone's got to do the calculations in the background to say this is worth it or not. Because I don't know what these companies are charging for the licensing to have it for like subscription based platform. And I don't know if it's lucrative enough for companies to say, "Oh, I just want you on PlayStation." Like, oh, I just want this game on PlayStation, so I'm gonna look the other way, kind of thing.
You know what?
So,
This is the way I look at it. It's the business deals are based on like Sony or Microsoft paying an amount of money that equals the theoretical. I guarantee you at least 50 million. Let's just say like the equivalent of revenue of 5 million, 5 million copies worth, or something like that for it to be worth it. Because like with example of Outriders, they were really scared about the fact that they did not have player base for the Avengers game. No one was really buying into an Avengers game that, quite frankly, was riding high off of the entire saga of Avengers. No, when we started with Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, all the way down to Endgame, and
yeah,
they could not capture the audience, which is kind of funny because I guess the grind, all you're doing is doing, you're not getting like cool guns or cool armor. You're just, well, I guess if you want to call it armor, but it's like you can't put armor on the Hulk, right? I mean, you're making his skin harder or more flexible. It's like that's what I'm reading about it, which is why I can't even push
like
myself to.
imagine. You
What's
can't
that?
even imagine. You you can't even
Yeah,
imagine like what are we working towards?
like
Yeah.
I could see Iron Man. Yeah, like I could see Iron Man. You're putting in an exotic like weapon in there,
Hmm.
like Steve Rogers. What are you gonna get? The what is it, the hologram shield or something?
Yeah, no, I
I mean
agree.
that's
Like that's very tough. Like what would have been cool is if you keep unlocking levels, you have more people that you could be. Now that's different, but like I said, the lead character was who they chose. So,
well, we were going down an interesting
okay.
route. But yeah, I think for companies though, they just have to feel like it's a guaranteed amount of copies. Which actually, funny thing was, Outriders supposedly came out on Game Pass. Well, it did come out day one on Game Pass, so you didn't have to buy it. But
Mhm.
someone posted on Twitter that it was actually the number one sold game in Xbox, which I didn't
Really?
understand that. But
Wait, so even though it's on Game Pass, people actually still bought it because they wanted a copy.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's so weird.
So that means there's a healthy balance between all of this. There are collectors out there. Remember, you and I used to do that.
Well, no,
I
it's
mean,
actually for the digital
oh,
copy.
for the digital? Okay, then I stand
No,
corrected.
but
But
that's my point. Is that like what is there 20 million Game Pass subscribers, and
yeah,
you're telling me that people. I guess there must be a lot of people that are not on Game Pass that bought Outriders, which
but
is
then they have to have. Here's the thing, though. They have to have gold, right?
not. Yes, actually,
Yeah,
you
because
do.
how would they play online? I mean, I know there's the free stuff now. The Xbox did.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really fascinating because there is a mindset that's people get more sales by putting their game on Game Pass, which is counterintuitive. But like, for example, Destiny, I could see it because I'm not paying for the game, so I'm just gonna buy some stupid silver to buy some skins. I don't know. So I could see that. Um, cool. I think you had some an article that caught your eye about Dragon Age 4. Some news on that.
Yep. So there's an article. Let me pull it up. I think it was on Game Rant around some changes coming to the Chantry in Dragon Age 4. And as you recall, like that's kind of the route they've taken in terms of the storyline with this game. To me, the Darkspawn were essential to making the game Dragon Age. But that aside, this game has been delayed. And, rightfully so, because I think that they don't know what they're going to do next. So this is like, to me, the first of the news around what we have to expect around Dragon Age 4. So we're actually going to it says it's taking players north to Ventur Imperium for the first time in the franchise. And basically, you're going to be tasked to stopping the Dread Wolf, who's basically trying to take down the veil between Thetis and the magical realm of the Fade in hopes of restoring the ancient Elven Empire. So, in my mind, it's like we're back in the Fade, we're back with the mages, and we have some of the elves involved in this too. And while it feels like it's still developing, I still feel like the miss here, like I said before, is that I know they're trying to world build, they're trying to expand the map, which I totally am fine with. That was the whole point of Dragon Age anyway. My big issue is that we're done with the Darkspawn, and I find that hard to believe, especially with that one downloadable content that you had to play with the architect and everything, like from the first Dragon Age. That, and then the whole concept that who am I going to be playing again? Like,
you're playing a new person.
Am I going to be playing a mate? This is the thing, like, that I'm just kind of like, it's interesting how it comes from the same company that gave us Mass Effect, right? Am I right?
Yep.
So you would think that some of the system dynamics of the game, if you will, would be similar to what we saw in Mass Effect. And I'm not saying it needs to be, but it's the same freaking developers. And you would think that all those hours I spent on Dragon Age 1, I could at least carry it over into all the others. I don't know if they ever got feedback from people, but I think that's the general consensus. Like, I would like my character to carry over, and I would like to continue the story, and I don't mind if it's not with the Darkspawn. I would prefer it. It's kind of like my preference for hippos in Destiny 2. And when I say hippos, for those of you who don't know by now, I call... What the heck are they called? I've never called them by their name. The Cabal. I call them hippos because they look like large hippos with guns. So, that being said, I'm just like, the core, at its core, that's to me the game. It would be nice to, we're still trying to get rid of the Darkspawn. I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Ben? I'm trying to stay objective because I still don't know, but I'd like more, I guess, especially since they delayed this game.
I think we've got an interesting thing where BioWare's going through a lot of they're on show me mode with EA. I think EA is saying that if they can't stick the landing with the sales of the Mass Effect trilogy, which is going to be an easy one, it's like a layup, but the Mass Effect coming out, I guess you'll call it 5, but it may feel like 4 because Liara's in it, and I think we find Shepard. which I don't know how you're going to do with that, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
And then you've
We'll
got
let them worry about that.
Yeah, but like if you saw like the concept art with Dragon Age 4, it just felt like it was going everywhere. Like there's this like cool empire that has all these like you know things going on, and then there's these dragons. It's like actually I have no idea where the story is. It's actually the one thing where Mass Effect trilogy was going toward a singular like cataclysm, this fight against the Reapers. I should be fighting against the cause of the what the heck was that dragon called? Was it the Great Demon?
Oh God, gee, I don't even remember.
Yeah, like you were fighting the old god or something, and
Yes, he was like a god and like in the form of a dragon.
or
Yeah,
like no, it was one of those priests that went into the halls of heaven and touched it and corrupted heaven. I
there was
forgot the
some
whole story.
story. Yeah,
Something like that. And I thought I was going to lead up to that. And then 2 led to 3, which was all about this politics of you're different than me. You do magic, and I don't like magic. Therefore, I'm going to oppress you. It's like, okay, I get what you're trying to say, but this isn't this cool, like, come to Jesus moment where we're trying to fight a bigger thing. We're just trying to fight piddly stuff. So okay, the open world the structure of Dragon Age Inquisition, I couldn't finish it. That's why a lot of people they claim they loved Inquisition, they loved
yeah,
the character, they loved I wanted to call him Phase. What is the guy who's the Grey Wolf who ends up being the Grey Solus?
yeah.
He ends up being the Grey Wolf who I either sucked. It's not Morgan. What was her mother's name?
Oh my
I was
God,
gonna call her LaFay, but it's not.
not Morgan. No, that's Morgan. What the heck was her mother's name? It wasn't Winnie. Oh my God, that old lady, that
It's
old
not
hag.
Winnie. Winnie died.
I know. No, I'm talking about the old hag. I'm like, crap. The heck is her name? I'm drawing a
Yeah,
blank.
God, like the face is right in front of me in my head, and I can't. Anyway, I'm not gonna belabor this thought process, but it ended in something. But because he didn't kill her, he put her to stone. I didn't beat it, but I cheated and Wikipedia it, and I
I
was just
love it.
like,
You're like, I couldn't even finish it. Let's put it that
well,
way.
I was going through open worlditis, where every game was an open world, and you had to if every time I walk into the objective, there's a little side objective, and I get distracted, and then life happens, and you just end up forgetting it. This is why I can never finish games like Witcher because there's just so much in this open world that you're just like,
So
oh
you
god.
have to do it all. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I was getting through that openitis and all that stuff, and that's why I just I couldn't finish it, and it was on Xbox One at the time. They did not upgrade Inquisition to the One X, nor did they upgrade it to the Series X. This is actually one of the if I ever play this Dragon Age 4, I actually don't really have a third character to upload. This is actually going to be interesting for me. But that being said, I hope it's going to something bigger. I mean, the Grey Wolf going into the opening the Fade. I think he's like a. Is he a god? I don't know, but
Yeah.
maybe this opens up this whole back into the gods and all that stuff. I just miss the Darkspawn. They were just something that I really wanted to know more about, but I'll
Yep.
never.
Like the lore of the Darkspawn, the whole there were castes within the Darkspawn, like to even explore. And so I agree with you. It was a miss because even Mass Effect, like the Reapers, like you don't have Mass Effect without the Reapers.
And you know what? To add to that, whatever Mass Effect you have after, it's okay that you don't talk about the Reapers because you've ended it. You've not ended the Darkspawn. They're still there.
Exactly.
They're still in the. I'm gonna mix up the Lord of the Rings and call it the Mines of Moria, but it's not. I know it's not the Mines of Moria. But
Moria.
you get what I'm saying? Like they're still
Yeah.
there. They're still a threat. I mean, you saw them in Dragon Age 2, where
Yep.
it's Carver. Or, yeah, if you have Carver alive,
Yep.
he becomes either a Grey Warden Or actually, no. If you also have the sister, if the sister survives, actually, she could be a Grey Warden too, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like, I don't know. I just feel like it was a miss for me. Like it was a big miss as a big fan. I played that game to its like I think to its finish, in my opinion. So I'm like, it would have been it was a miss for me, that's all.
It needs more. It needs more to get us back. But I think Bioware is on borrowed time. That's they've they've a lot of pressure. I don't know if I'm not sure they've got it in them to do it. So prove me wrong, guys. Prove me wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so there was an interesting article. I'm going to go back into PlayStation, right? So a very interesting article to me because I've little background. I followed the console wars in last generation, so I've seen the narrative of Xbox has no games, PlayStation provides hit after hit after hit, as I quote people. Um, it was this back and forth, and oftentimes, and rightfully so, that the joke was Halo, Gears, and Forza. That's all you have to play on Xbox. And actually, I forgot who made the rap song, but they actually made a rap song off of it. The reason why I say that is because there's an article by IGN. It's more like an op-ed, which there's also been other articles too that really focus on the fact that PlayStation has. There's a report that it was really focusing on The Last of Us, and this game called Days Gone. Never played Days Gone, but everyone knows The Last of Us. That was at the time like the gift that kept on giving, right? And so Days Gone, again, it's another third person over the shoulder game. It happened to actually have zombies too. So it was almost a little bit of a similar but different world with Last of Us and the Days Gone. But Days Gone did well, wasn't like the 90 Metacritic that Last of Us always got, but it did well, was profitable. They tried to pitch it to a sequel, and they said no. They didn't want to take a risk. They wanted to double down on their blockbusters. And so the blockbusters are Gears of War, Last of Us, Uncharted, and probably Gran Turismo, but that's a racing game,
Oh,
right?
Uncharted is a PlayStation only game. That would have been a nice one to do the pass with. But anyway, go ahead. I
Oh,
just thought of it.
oh yeah, no, it's that by the way was great. Um, but anyway, that it I and so the article is so funny because IGN article. I mean, it does put some good questions about the fact that oh, and actually I forgot you have to count Spider Man as a Sony exclusive, which quite frankly I hate to say it. It's up to Marvel, but
Hmm.
Sony. See, this is interesting. The Sony thing is there are people that say Sony owns the share because that is true. Marvel sells shares of their character, right? But there's there is a question about the movies and then the video games. So let's just pretend Spider-Man is a Sony exclusive, which okay, whatever. Um, they start questioning about the fact that Sony's identity of taking risks to find the new franchise and with lower, double A or single A games like Gravity Rush or, you know, God, it's funny. Sony has such a huge legacy since PlayStation 1 about making all the games and these classic games like Shadow of the Colossus, Gravity Rush, Ape Escape. Remember Ape Escape?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Um, and they really just shifted away from a diverse set of like Japanese games, Western games, and they're really just going all into Western games. Like I love, but I by the way, I love God of War, like God of War, Last of Us, to the point where, yeah, I mean they've shifted to the Western, making sure that Western folks love what they say and what how they get it all, and we've done it. We've done the whole topic of Last of Us so many times, right?
Hmm.
And it's funny how they're talking about how they're afraid about PlayStation losing their identity. And before I go into rant number one, what do you think about that? That they're willing to just if they continue this path about because their business model is about exclusives selling the hardware, is that too short-sighted? Is that something because they're good at they should double down? What do you think about this?
Well, you mean in terms of exclusives?
Well, it's not even just the exclusives. They're putting all their money into I'll quote them. They call it the too big to fail games, which is basically putting it all into. I was going to call it Gears, God of War, Last of Us, and Uncharted. I mean, there's probably one or two more. Oh, it's Spider-Man, but
and Spider-Man, you can't forget that. But that's technically a Marvel thing. Okay, so the business-minded person in me is like, if you have too much, too much like in your portfolio, it becomes unmanageable, right? I get it that they're placing the money on the big bets. I mean, it's the right thing to do. Like, so I'm just throwing out random numbers. It's like the stock market. If I had $1 million, I wouldn't be investing in 25 companies. I'd be picking and choosing, or like I wouldn't even be investing in 100 different companies. Like I would probably put like a quarter of that money into one, like, diversified enough to make me money. And that's what I think, that's the strategy they're doing. I get it, because that's your big bang. Like, let's be real. From my perspective, now this is just my perspective, I only played Destiny 2. I mean, I gravitate toward that game because that's the game I want to play. I like the concept of Outriders. Don't get me wrong. The other day when you were like, let's get on and just grind through something, you gave me a choice, and what did I choose?
That strike was pretty cool, by the way.
Yes. So I chose Destiny 2, and I'm not like I said before, everyone has their thing. Sirius will always choose Call of Duty. That's his game nowadays. It used to be PUBG. That is now his game. So if you think about it, even though you and I love, if Sony's going to go this route of just, again, we don't know, we can only speculate, but if they're going to go in this route of buying this whole idea, this concept of opposite of Xbox, not subscribership, like, then you have to put your money in the big bets, because you can't risk losing so much in something that, isn't. But from a think tank sort of perspective, and like I said, I say this is a good thing, because to me, I only play certain games. I the most, as much as I download other games and want to be in other games, I go to the games that I want to play, which is Destiny 2 right now. So, knowing that, there's probably 5 games I think you are constantly playing across multiple consoles. So, like, it makes sense to me. However, like I said, from a think tank perspective, what Xbox is doing with Game Pass is allowing those smaller games a forum, a platform to gain people into that space. So exactly what you said, I never would have played Outriders if it wasn't on Game Pass. So, like, it's a test. It's allowing you to test the concept to see how well it's going to work out. And even for I notice Xbox does a lot of, it's interesting because the dynamic is like Sony has these big blockbuster games like Spider-Man, blah, blah, blah. If I think about the Xbox Live event last year, like their biggest game, which unfortunately was the one that was the dud, was Cyberpunk. But they had these other games that kind of like were like off the path, if you will. Like, what was that game with the vacuum cleaner? Like, there was a woman.
I would call it GOG.
Oh my God. Anyway, I forget what it was called, but it was a woman with a vacuum cleaner in space. Like, or whatever. Like, It's so left field, but it was on Game Pass. So if you ever wanted to play it, you could play it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're actually, what I'm saying is Xbox is helping people who work on those things get paid. So from that perspective, I think there's the perfect balance of having it both ways. Because to this day, and that's why, like for some games, you actually have to buy it. It won't be available on Game Pass. But that makes sense to me. I think you got to be picky and choosy. Like Madden, I don't think is ever going to. The newest Madden is not going to be on Game Pass. The older Madden is. So if you are a diehard Madden fan, you're going to buy Madden, the latest Madden. So it doesn't matter. But if you're like the casual Madden fan like me, I'll just play last year's game because it doesn't really matter to me. So that's why I say like they're actually helping those random offshoot games get into the mainstream, get into people's kind of vision, get them on people's radar, have them play it, and then if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give my thoughts and then my rant. So because there's a
what is the rant?
Specific thing about this article that gets on my nerves. Well, not just the article, the noise I'm getting about article. But the many articles like this are giving this noise. I found that a very interesting perspective. I find it very telling from a business perspective that where Microsoft is throwing cash just widen that and see what the heck they get, PlayStation is doing this focus, which you do that when you have limited resources, but you want to grow. So actually, it's telling to me that because they've built this generation on units sold as opposed to subscribers of Game Pass or PlayStation Now, let's say, it actually tells me that they're acknowledging that they are in a more competitive threat with their competitors like Nintendo, Microsoft, and Amazon. I think a lot of people forget Amazon is with their Luna is about to come out, where Luna doesn't really. It's really for more casual people than us, and they have to pump resources into AAA exclusives, which I think they've even said it themselves. The business model requires a lot of capital to be invested in the hope that the marketing buzz of getting a 90 plus Metacritic sells 5 to 20 million copies to help you get to 100 plus million units sold. So far, Sony's done well. Sony has sold more units because number one, they own Europe. Number two, they had better stock availability than Microsoft. And I mean they're riding high right now, but they do need to be careful. But I think now I'm going to go to my rant. Is that a lot of the console warriors, the publisher, these gamer journalists, they were all out there making fun of Halo, Gears, and Forza is the only thing you can play on Xbox. If I find, which I don't think that's the case, but if I find that basically the PlayStation is the only thing you could play is God of War, which I guess it's not that bad because I like that, Uncharted, and Last of Us, and then I guess what is it too? Horizon Zero Dawn and Spider-Man. Are we going to give that same treatment when Sony only puts money, especially the idea that part of this article talks about is that they moved focus from Days Gone, like they shut down Days Gone 2 to put money into The Last of Us remake, not a remaster. They just remastered it. They redid it, HD graphics for PlayStation 4. You'd think that all they have to do is upgrade it for free, which Xbox willingly does, but they didn't. They want to remake it to make it so that it ties more to the HBO show. The game that everybody loved Joel and Ellie, and was bitching and moaning about when Last of Us 2 just killed those two characters in terms of who they were and literally killing Joel with a golf ball. a golf club. Okay, now these people, and I'm trying to keep my tone down. These people out here who are now complaining about the threat that they're not going to have in innovation and new franchises. They were the ones encouraging Sony that this is the way to go. That it's all about the hit after hit, big exclusive. But now they're crying about it. Now I think the console warriors are not. They're double downing on it. I just want to call it out that this bullshit. You can't go out there crying about it when you were pounding your chest saying Sony was better than Microsoft because of the exclusives, and now they're double downing on these AAA exclusives, and now you're out there making articles because it's not just IGN. It's there's some podcasters out there who are concerned about it, and now they're the ones who pushed Sony to do this to take away the innovation, which I'm not thinking they're going to fully cut innovation, but Uncharted 2 is considered the pinnacle of Uncharted, but that was only because they built off of Uncharted 1. I never played Days Gone because I was zombie fatigued at the time, but if they did what they did with Uncharted, they could have built Days Gone 2 into something different. But now you guys push Sony. It's kind of like how Disney listens to a bunch of people, or Marvel, right? Marvel Comics listening to a bunch of people that are loud on the internet, but they're not the core consumer. Well, I mean, it's seeing these articles. It's not the IGN, and I'm not attacking IGN. It's just the idea that now we're crying about the things that you guys were pushing Sony to do. Focus on AAA franchises that are really the only ones they care about are God of War, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima. I don't even know if they're going to invest in Ghost of Tsushima because you know what? Does that fall under an established legacy franchise that's a AAA? I don't know. I just calling it out because they're doing what you asked for, and now some of these people are worried about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's a good call out because I didn't even know the history of that, like beef, I guess, if you will.
Gears and Forza. Halo Gears. It's just.
I mean, I don't blame them. I actually don't blame them for focusing on it. But like I said, like I really do think that this, and like you said, you've been keeping track of the console wars. I have not, but I will tell you,
and you're more sane for it.
Yeah, and I'm more sane for it. But that makes me, at least, like I said, that makes me, I don't know, credible to myself, at least. That I'm not, like I said, I don't keep track of the console wars to know that this comment goes back, these comments go back and forth. However, I'm looking at it from a business mind, like it's finding that happy balance, and I think Xbox has found it. That's why I actually don't agree with those people that are like, knocking them for supporting things like Halo, because you know why? They're actually doing both. They're putting their big bets on the big games, which is rightfully so, but they're allowing the other things to flourish via Game Pass. So I feel like you can't knock them for supporting Halo when on the flip side of the coin, they are actually allowing video games like that. And then the other one about the kids. Oh my God, the kids.
Oh, Grounded.
The one about the kids.
Honey, I Shrunk the
Kids. The backyard.
Yeah, yeah. Like
somebody
again,
paid those people. They worked on that game.
Again, those people on the games journalist, right, who push me to say that they are a specific type of news when it comes to video games. They were out there making fun of Microsoft for putting games like Sea of Thieves, and they swing like you could say swing and a miss, but Sea of Thieves is still being played by a lot of people.
It is, and it's actually fun. Like when you want something mindless, sometimes, like it's fine. Like
I'm not playing it, but my point is that I don't want to hear it when people say that all you could play on at Microsoft is Halo, Gears, and Forza. And the only thing that I can say is that I better not hear it if I see Sony really go down this road of only investing in the 5 franchises. Granted, that's more than Halo, Gears, and Forza.
I think
better
those.
not.
Honestly,
There's
sad
that
to
in it too.
say, I think those people making those comments are PS boys.
No,
Like,
they
you
are.
know.
They are. But my point is when the game's journalists also know, or the YouTubers
Yeah,
who
that's what I
push
mean. They're
this.
all like they must be getting paid for it. You got to read the fine lines in their things. Like we don't get paid for this. Like they're probably getting paid to say PlayStation 50 times in their podcast, and it's in the fine print underneath the descriptions of their like things. I mean,
I mean, I
it's the
can't
reality we
accuse.
live in, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that's the reality we live in that you have to understand. Like we all have to understand is that sometimes a lot of these influencers, if you will, get paid to write things in favor of things.
Well,
So
someone actually put it in a different way. Is that there is a bias? Like, so
there's a bias, yeah.
if
Yeah.
Sega was still around, we probably would be biased because that's what we grew up with. Apparently, a lot of these journalists and influencers grew up with PlayStation.
Hmm.
That's where their fondest memories were. Like my fondest memories were Sega. Other people's
Yeah.
fondest memories were Super NES. And what you're finding is that there is this like, because to me, I blame Sony, even though Sega did it to themselves. I blame Sony for doing the final blow on Sega.
Hmm.
Um, that's there's my always like my weird bias, even though I know it's completely irrational. But that's what someone says is that it's more of this like childhood fond memory of the brand, which then
Yeah.
leads them to always default to that. And again, I just want to say that if it's really that way, Sony, I want those people, these influencers who are crying about the lack of innovation, if that's true, because I'd be shocked, okay? I would be
Yeah.
shocked. But if it's true and they're double downing on the same franchises, I better hear them make a song. What is it? God of War. You can't even rap to it. I'm just saying
God
it's
of
like
War, Spider-Man, and oh my god,
Horizon Zero Dawn,
Uncharted.
Uncharted. Which, by the way, this is going to be interesting with Uncharted because that ended where Nathan Drake had a daughter. So actually, that's perfectly in the wheelhouse considering where Sony's been spinning. So uh, to be determined, but I will say that was a good game franchise.
No, I
Ah,
like that.
by the way, are you excited about this Last of Us because this HBO series? Because I'm not, and I heard that they're going
I
to
don't
change it
know how I
dramatically from
feel.
the
You know,
book.
I never played the game. I kept up with the story. I did what you did. I read the ending. I I like Pedro Pascal. Um, I don't know who the girl is that's playing Abby, but I don't know. I don't. It depends, you know.
Is that HBO Max?
I think it is HBO Max. I don't know
Okay.
how I feel about Last of Us. I never was a fan of the game. And by the way, I just remembered what game it was. It was Quantum Break, but that was on everything.
No,
So
no, it was on Xbox only.
it was on Xbox, but that was a really good game. Anyway, um, because I thought of it because that guy from Lord of the Rings was in it.
Oh,
Anyway,
is it Pippin?
I don't know. I think his name is Dominic Monaghan. It might have been Pippin, yeah. So,
And Iceman was in it.
oh yeah, that's right.
And Littlefinger was in it.
Yeah, see, I knew it. I was like,
That
anyway,
that's a
so
game franchise I wish would continue, but that's a completely different story.
um,
Are we back into
that and
Hollywood now?
I thought of the Ellen Page game Beyond. That was
Beyond
the
Two
other one.
Souls.
Yeah, Beyond You.
I know.
Anyway,
It's like that. We're
so
back into Hollywood now.
no, we're not back. Well, we can, but real quick, just to end it all, like I agree with like I really think the gamer war thing should end, but we need it for competition's sake. But I agree, like these guys should just get the facts straight. That's all, because that's what they're like. When you think about journalism, you're supposed to like treat it objectively. And that's what I think my expectation is of a lot of these people. But the problem is like they don't. And that's the thing. So if you don't, I don't know that I can trust it if you're so biased one way. It's like just try to be in the middle if you can, and if you can't, that's fine. Like we always say, I always say I'm biased toward Destiny too. Like it just is my bias. But I won't. It doesn't mean I won't play Outriders. It doesn't mean I won't play. I love RPGs. I had played Battle Chasers before I played Destiny 2. I still haven't finished it, but I like the game. So doesn't mean, but if I have 2 hours in my day, I'm going to give it to Destiny. Anyway, we should move into Hollywood because it was a good segue. My segue was a good segue, I guess.
Yeah. So, what any news before we give my second rant, also known as the Falcon Winter Soldier number 4?
Okay, well, first off, number one, if you guys haven't seen it, it's related to Falcon Winter Soldier, so we can just dive into it after I say these two things. Number one is that if you haven't had enough of Zemo dancing, that Marvel has released an hour of it on the loop in its full glory.
That was Marvel?
Yes. Marvel was the one who released it. A lot of people tagged it, but it's the entire scene before they cut it to just the fist bump thing. He actually was like spinning around, like, because he was actually getting into it, and he even said, Daniel Bruhl even said like the faces that Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan had were like priceless, because I don't think they were expecting him to improv that way so much. And so they actually released his dance is probably like a couple seconds longer than it was in the episode, but for the most part, the Marvel themselves has released an hour long if you want to watch it on loop. Secondly, which I find sometimes it makes my day. Secondly is, since we're talking about this episode that just passed, is next episode, there's like buzz happening. And, I will say this as a caveat, we have to keep our expectations low considering what happened with WandaVision.
Oh God, not again.
There is news of a cameo in next week's episode. The director or producer, one of them said, like, it's a person I'd love I'd love to get, like, to work with Thor on. And a person that's like, basically, I forget what the word was, like balanced, down to earth person that I'd love to see some of the other characters in the MCU get to work with. I don't know what that means, but I will go back to what you said. I won't name a YouTuber, but there are YouTubers out there that are suggesting it's Wolverine, which is like BS, because we all know this is not the forum for that.
We can call out Screen Rant for all the fake rumors that we got.
No, it's definitely not Screen Rant. It was a YouTuber, I think, who took it too far. A lot of the other places are tempering expectations because of what happened with WandaVision. Some of the articles I've even read are like, this definitely isn't like, considering what happened with WandaVision, they all even said that. So I think everyone knows it's like a letdown if you like hype it up, which I think they're trying not to, but the fact that the director said something means that there's a cameo that's meaningful. So, we'll see.
What was meaningful? The astrophysicist. You know what was meaningful? Putting Evan Peters. Is Evan Peters his name?
Yes, Evan Peters.
A random dude, and they keep telling me that he's just a random dude.
Ralph Boner.
That's like having Mecha Godzilla just come in and beat the living crap out of Godzilla as if it was like a hot knife cutting through butter.
And real quick, before I leave this topic, it's a side note, but as part of the Marvel Universe, the Loki trailer did drop last week. I don't know if you got to see it. I enjoyed it.
It was fine.
It was fine. I'm not like, I enjoyed it. It's all about the time stream. That's all. We got a little bit more tidbits about it. But anyway.
It goes to show you that sets up, like, Loki sets up more for the possibilities of this phase of the Marvel Universe. Even this, as much as I have a strong opinion about this episode, this series has still set up more things. It has done more for the Fantastic Four and the X-Men than this freaking WandaVision Mephisto. Oh, Anyways, I'm gonna be
Anyway,
quiet.
should I dive into the episode real fast?
Yes.
High level recap?
'Cause I'm gonna
Okay.
have a rant, please.
Because I want to hear your rant. So, spoilers for the next 10, 15 minutes. I'll try to keep it short. In this episode, we continue along the path where we left off. The Dora Milaje are there to collect Zemo. They basically give Bucky 8 hours to get his shit done, and they will come for Zemo. In the midst of all of this, they're trying to get in touch with Carly, the leader of the Flag Smashers, but so is Walker, aka the new Captain America, U.S. agent. I call him U.S. agent. And his partner. It all leads to basically a big basic, I don't even know, confrontation, if you will. Anthony Mackie's character, true to his nature as Falcon, really wants to level with the girl. He's had experience talking to people with PTSD before. He needs to talk to her to get her to stop the trajectory she's heading in. If you recall, she blew up a place and killed a few people. She, on the other hand, is teetering, Carly, between becoming something that she is trying to extinguish in the world and still trying to be the quote-unquote good guy. I felt like this episode was about, do the ends justify the means? Because that's literally what Bucky said to the Dora Milaje when they came to him and said, why did you free Zemo? So this whole episode is about that. At the end of the day, the big confrontation with Carly, I think that Falcon was almost there with her, getting to her heartstrings until Walker showed up, because all of a sudden he's this hot-headed guy who needs to fight people because he's got this big gigantic chip on his shoulder, that he's Captain America and he's running the show. And so she gets spooked and runs away, threatens Falcon's sister because, she's basically turning bad. And it leads to another fight because the serum is involved. Well, the power broker wants the serum back. Zemo wants to destroy it, whatever. The struggle happens. The serums get destroyed by Zemo. He shoots Carly in the process, but she's still alive. I actually enjoyed that scene. And in the midst of it all, John Walker sees one last vial left. He takes it and pockets it and doesn't tell anyone he has it. He has this moment where he's talking to his buddy. What the hell is that guy's name? Bridgewater? What is his code name?
Isn't it
he has a code name. Buckingham Palace? I don't know. Anyway, he's talking to him and is like, if you could have the power, would you do it? And his friend, like an idiot, is like, yeah, heck yeah. Could you imagine if we had it in Afghanistan? So then it's like, all right, that does it. He has it in his pocket. I felt bad because at the end of the day, his friend dies. He gets pushed into a big cement wall, and I think his neck is broken by Carly.
I bet you it's like broken spine at minimum.
Yeah, he could be another Rhodes, so because it looked like he was breathing. We kind of find out that it pisses that guy off so much that he basically shot himself with the serum. I don't know. We never see it on camera, but I mean, how could he bend? He bend the metal pipe?
He took it. It's just they never showed it to us. I agree with that.
Yeah, so it kind of is one of those, did he take it, didn't he? But it looks like he did. So at the end of the day, that it leaves us there, I think, kind of like this guy and now is souped up on these roids, these Flag Smash, because whatever they had from the power broker as a carrot to keep them safe or protected is gone. Stupid. They're kind of not they're looking at Carly as not a leader anymore because the decisions she's making are very selfish. And the Dora Milaje are like, looking for Zemo, who just happened to slip away at the perfect time. So one thing I did want to bring up before that was the fight scene with Walker and the Dora Milaje, and I actually enjoyed it when he was sitting there crying, and he said, "I could." They didn't even have the super serum, and they beat the shit out of him. So, again, he's got this hot head, thinks he can do it all because he's wearing the outfit, and so, like I said, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and last week. This is the turn for him. So I will pass it on to you. I don't know if I missed anything big, but those are the big highlights for me.
Okay. When I've never seen that shield ever have blood. But I was so pleased to see one of those freaking flag members get killed. Do you know why?
Oh yes, I missed that part. See how?
Do you know why? I don't really care. I'm not against their cause, but they are so annoying. We've got bigger things where John, the Walker U.S. agent, I'm calling him U.S. agent, literally is about to turn heel, become an enemy. You've got Zemo doing his Zemo stuff, and quite frankly, he's the best part of the show. I have the what if can you please pronounce the Wakanda
Daniel
force?
Brühl?
No,
Daniel Brühl.
No, the Wakandan force.
Oh, the Dora Milaje.
I can't pronounce it. So you have this. We're in Latveria, where said Doctor Doom is supposed to be located, and I'm piddling around with this freaking woman who acts like this little girl who got powers and is like, I'm a hero. I'm gonna blow up an entire base and watch all these people that we beat up and tied burn to death. And when they were looking at her, when the report was that the one guy just started like 2 to 3 days before and is a father of 2, and there's this little girl trying to tell me that she's fighting for a cause, which I'll tell you what works against her in the storytelling. I just went through WandaVision, and Monica Rambeau seemed to integrate pretty well. Like these people who supposedly snapped back from the 5-year gap. I don't see these people being thrown out on the street. Like let's say I get snapped. I guess like if you get snapped and your wife or your spouse or whatever marries and moves on and you come back and there's nothing for you and there's no job for you. But the problem with it is they didn't introduce that to me.
Yeah.
I didn't see that problem. I kept just seeing like all I saw in the start of the series was a bunch of like people robbing. I didn't see these camps, and they're trying to set it up that there's a holy cause by this menacing person, and she's not even menacing. Like I was thinking about it, I was like, is it because she's Carly? And I'm like, no, because Hela walks into the room. I'm shitting my pants. Loki and Zemo, those are levels of people that, for some reason, that even though they're the bad guy, I kind of want them to kind of get away with it. Like it's not like a bad guy that I like. It's not a bad guy who makes me like who has presence. It's just a soft-spoken person. It gets to the point where like this episode, I could not watch it in one sitting. This is the first of the series that I could not watch, and I realized it's because they kept showing me Carly, trying to humanize her. And I need a bad guy, and you are really like you and your little flag smashers. Like, what kind of name is that? Flag smash. You have the flag smashers, but you have a symbol of the Uruk-hai where they slap a red-blooded hand on the face of the orcs. And you literally want me to care. Like, so when U.S. agent literally murdered the guy. Let's not mince words. He murdered the guy.
No, he with the shield. Yes.
He murdered the guy. He didn't just beat him to death. He murdered him. I I was like, one less flag smasher. Could you please get rid of Carly? And then there's Carly who kicks his buddy to death, right? And she's like sitting there, standing there as if she's in shock. And I'm like, lady, you just reacted all hard as a mofo. Oh, this is the language that they understand. We have to be violent and kill people. And then you kill somebody with your own hands, and then you're like standing there as if you're shocked. And then the best part is she's standing there in shock that her buddy gets killed. No, I'm sorry, didn't get killed, get murdered in cold blooded rage by a U.S. agent, and she's out there looking all shocked and scared. And I'm like, you remind me of these kids who want to talk about being tough, and then when they get punched back, they cry medic, and act like it was just so effing annoying. And I'm just like, can we get rid of Carly? Like let's make episode 5 get rid of Carly like at the first half, and then we can then focus on the battle between Sam and U.S. Agent for the Shield. Like I'm so tired. She's just noise.
You're
I,
over.
I gave her 3 episodes. Actually, I take it back. I gave her 4 episodes to get good, and no, she's just this. The people they're and I'm like, yes, I understand that there are people not being serviced, okay, from the snap. But my problem is the story didn't set it up that I got to see the suffering of these people. I literally just saw Monica Rambeau just slide back into her life. I walked into the what is it, Westview, New Jersey, and everyone seems to be okay, except for the fact that Wanda is literally torturing them mentally. It's just I couldn't stand it. And I'm like, I almost wished he killed Carrie, the character Carrie, because it's they are noise. Like she acts all shocked that her buddy died when she sent her other buddy in like episode 2 or episode 1 to die to stall for time in this glorious. I just push the pole down, block the cars, and then all I do is get shot up. Remember that scene, this epic scene where he died?
Yeah. No, I know. Which was like, you didn't really hold him off, dude. What did you really do?
Why is she acting like she's not sacrificed her people? Why is she acting like she's not killed people? And then like is shocked. She's absolutely flabbergasted that she kills the guy's friend or partner or whatever, and she doesn't expect him to not give her the same. It's like you escalated it. You literally burned people and killed 3 people in a building burning, and you want me to feel sympathy for you and your little flag smashers. Like, get get a better like nickname. Like
Get a better nickname.
they better be funded by Zemo or something crazy for me to just deal with them again. Like if she's alive in episode 6, and I'm not focusing on episode 6 being about U.S. Agent versus Falcon for the Shield, there's a problem. There's an absolute problem, and it was so good. Episodes 1 through 3 were so good, and then another thing, can we just be out with it and tell me that Sharon Carter is the broker? Because who for 5 years like goes from a rogue CIA agent to like a power broker with all the satellite tech, and you're telling me that she just did what she had to do to survive? She doesn't look like she's surviving, quite frankly. There's and if I swear to
I
God,
noticed she was walking around the streets of Madripoor like she owned the place.
exactly.
I don't know if you caught that, but the
Yes.
guys she was walking around all had guns
They were guarding
protecting
They were
her.
guarding- Yeah.
They were protecting her. And I almost feel like she is the power broker, but like let's just call it what it is. I agree with you.
Because it's feeling Mary Sue-ish, like how Sharon Carter suddenly has all these resources. So you better come out with it that she's the power broker, because you can't
Just be
fool
done
me.
with it. Yeah.
You can't fool me that an ex-CIA agent suddenly has the ability to control Madripoor the way she does. Or if you could tell me that this whole power broker stuff is a CIA cover, that she's still working for the government and they're giving her all these resources, fine. But don't do me like this, because you're really taking the quality of the show that really hooked me and excused a couple of um, agenda messaging, right? I excused it, and now you're giving me not even agenda messaging, you're just giving me crap.
Yeah. I
Was
mean,
that fiery for you?
no, I really agree with you to certain things, and I didn't even think about the way you were looking at this flag smasher thing. And like you saw, I glossed over the fact that um John Walker like was beating up that guy with the shield, and like it was just horrific to see blood on it, because you never have.
No, we never do.
It was quite the sight to see. So you're right in that sense. I agree with you in the extent that we've dragged this Carly situation a little bit out too long. The only issue I've had, but it's true to his character, is that he really thought he could talk her down. The reality is she already killed people. She already killed people by bombing that place and said, "Oh, that's the language."
They burned people to death.
Yeah.
That's what they did, and you're going to
She crossed the line, in my opinion. So once you cross that line, I don't. The thing is, though, that I agree. Like the flip side is, here we are. Zemo did the same thing, and we're okay with him dancing. Like that's the thing I'm trying to like grapple with. But the reality is, we know who we're dealing with in Zemo. He's not flip floppy. He's in it for himself, and we know that.
But it's like you said, that was a great scene where he's just literally drinking while everyone's fighting about him, and we wanted him to get away with it, and he did.
Exactly. Like that's why I struggle a little with this episode, because it comes to me that, why am I getting mad at Carly when I'm rooting for Zemo, when Zemo did the same thing and his was worse? However,
like he shot her, I wanted him to kill her.
Oh, I know. I thought, oh my God, I thought he did.
But it's not because I personally hate her character. I just find her to be noise, because there's better villains at play. You've got Zemo. I
would have been happier if he was being funded by the power broker to do this, but it's not even. So it's like the way that they built this around her, and this, whatever, this agenda or whatever of theirs. So anyway, like I said, the only thing I struggled with this episode, but I got the full intent of it. Do the ends justify the means? What makes a hero a hero? I get where we're heading down the path. We kind of talked about it before. My thing is how am I finding myself rooting for someone who's probably 10 times more diabolical than her? But here I am rooting for him because he's smashing every single vial of super serum. And here I am like saying, yes. Like I was like, yeah. Like it was like,
he should have just shot her first, then do that.
No, but like it was just like, it was so nice when he shot her and just was like freaking stepping on each vial. But and then John just happened to be there. But
he knocked him out. He knocked him out.
He knocked him out with the shit.
I'm surprised he's like still alive, because I was like, if I got hit with that.
But either way, like there's an end game for him too. So either way, he got out. Bucky is on the shit list of the Dora Milaje, and they can disarm him, literally disarm him. Like I said, I'm only struggling with this Carly situation because I felt like they could have put it to closure in this episode. They could have had John kill her instead, the way he did, and that could have basically like
that would have been more powerful. But see, this is Disney. This is Hollywood. I would be shocked if they let John kill her. I'd be shocked if she did die. If she dies, the only way she's going to die is through killing herself or having a
sacrificial thing,
like a heroic turn. And it's such a, I guarantee you that's what the playbook's going to be. again, I excused instances of the agenda just because it hooked me on the action and the two characters of Falcon and Winter Soldier. But my patience ran thin when it kept giving me and forcing Carly, who just made me want to throw her her voice. Like remember was it Ghost and in Ant-Man? She may have not had been like hella with that presence voice, but she
Yeah.
still was more enjoyable to have as a foil
Yeah.
than Carly.
Hmm.
Like there's just it's not the actress, whatever you want to call it. She just it's the writing and the setup that they gave her. So I just wanted my gripe is not the actor.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like Rose Tico, right? It's not the it's not uh, Kelly Marie Tran.
Kelly McCrian. Yeah.
I'm annoyed at the character they built for her. That's it. It's you could have set her up
Well,
better.
she herself is annoyed at the character, I'm sure.
But yeah, I mean I was happy that the Flag Smasher just died because it was really annoying. The Uruk-hai face mask thing. I'm like, this is Lord of the Rings. Get out of here. How sad. They better get the. They
Go back
better
to what is that? Mordor? Go back to Mordor.
go back to Mordor.
Go
Exactly.
back to Mordor.
Go back and get your go to the freaking fires of Mountain Doom and throw yourself in. God, we gonna get any
If I
Lord of the
were
Rings?
who made the Lord of the Rings? Because if I were them, I would be calling Disney and being like, "Why are you stealing my intellectual property?"
Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien.
No, but who produced the movie?
Is that Warner Brothers? Yeah,
I
Warner
don't know.
Brothers. Right?
Oh, it is because it's on HBO Max now.
I was
I would be
watching it.
calling Disney and be like, "Hey guys, you're stealing my intellectual property. That's like the mask of the Uruk-hai."
I know. Freaking Uruk-hai. But
Um,
they
but no,
have
I
a chance
think
to.
that was it. Other than that, like
Yeah,
I said, I struggle with saying this, but I'm happy Zemo got away. The only reason I struggle is it doesn't excuse what he did.
yeah, he blew up the UN and killed the.
So many people. T'Chaka. Yes.
And there I am saying, shoot her, get away with it. You better hide, run away. This is the perfect time. That he suddenly went to the bathroom. I was like, yes.
Oh, I know. I love how he went to the bathroom.
You know why? Because they really do it in a non superhero way. Like he's basically Loki, which a different style of Loki. But I wish that Civil War really just there was so much potential with Zemo that it's a shame you didn't get that at Civil War.
Well, that's what a lot of the critics are saying, though. They're like, on one side, we're getting a taste of the other side of Zemo, but on the other side, this is not the Zemo we have known. So, like, to a lot of critics out there, at least from what I've been reading, they feel like Disney is doing a bait and switch with this character. Like, oh, now you want him to be like Loki after you made him a murderer of millions of people in the UN.
But we're supposed to like Carrie, who just took people and burned them to death because they're basically not giving food to these mysterious refugees that we've yet to see.
In
Sorry,
Latvia.
is that
in
harsh?
Latvia. No, it's not. It's in
That's the
Latvia.
point. They didn't set it up. I don't see these refugee camps. All I saw was Monica Rambeau getting her job back.
Yeah, and that means that they did a poor job of setting it up, like you said. But yeah, like I said, there was a lot of action in this episode. I agree with you. It all comes down to the bad guy. I think there's always like a protagonist and an antagonist, and you have to have as equally strong a protagonist and antagonist as possible to make it work. I just feel like, and I get where they're going with Carly, like she represents the everyday person. But again, we don't know what happened after the snap. In a weird way, the antagonist here is the GRC, it feels like.
But I don't even see them.
But we
That's the
don't even
point.
know. Like, we don't know why they're the bad guy. Like, but we know that they're withholding rations, but we don't know why.
But
So,
like that's the
like,
thing. I don't see some maniacal suit and tie saying, "Oh, these refugees, let's hold them. You got to kill them all." Like I don't see it. So
yeah,
show it to me. If you're gonna force
exactly.
every minute of freaking hours to see her face, I hear her voice. I better see a reason for me to say I understand. Like I even understand Walker's Walker's frustration of having to live up to Steve Rogers. That makes a lot of sense because
Yeah.
you have to hold that shield. And then he talks about what we had to do in Afghanistan. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he did Black Ops stuff. He probably killed people,
Oh,
like
yeah, for sure.
killed non-combatants and
Yeah.
killed his unit. So you telling me that like they didn't have to say much because obviously with this war stories you always know about that. But like Carly, I never even saw her like go to the refugee camp. Like it's things like that where it's like if I'm supposed to care about Carly, build it up for me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she's just a child with powers and is having a tantrum, and then realizing that she's taking it too far, even though she was all talk saying I'm going to take it as far as it can be
Yeah.
over
And
the
then she's
cliff.
basically trapped herself in a corner where she has to be the bad guy now because she's gone too far.
But she doesn't want to be because you can
But she
see.
doesn't want to be, but she has to be now because that's,
But she's a poor version of it. Like
yeah.
it's like I'd rather have just some like who's it? Who's it crap? I'd rather have the Thor Darkhold bad guy.
Oh,
Like he
God,
even
Malekith?
yeah, like
You know
even
that's
he's like
Sirius's favorite.
what was that?
I said
Sirius is yeah.
Sirius's favorite to point at is Malekith.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like he has more presence. He didn't do much. It was more.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, even Ego, who didn't do much either.
Oh God, yeah.
Um,
He just, that's another way to do much.
that's
Ooh,
yeah,
there was a lot of complaint about Marvel villains versus DC villains, and we're really going into this. Like even Hela, I understood her issue was like she wanted revenge. Her
yeah.
father just threw her under the bus,
After he was done using her, like he just
basically.
basically was like, "I want you and Fenrir the dog to run around with me, and
Take over the world.
take over the world. Oh, now that I have control over the world, I don't need you guys. So
Yeah, I
I
don't blame
knew.
her. As she is the eldest, so
Yep,
she is technically first in line.
yep.
But I mean, there is more. It's funny, like the more obscure things just were better villains. Like Red Skull was fine. Um, even Obadiah, what's his name? Obadiah. Remember
Oh
Iron Man
God.
1?
Oh God.
Jebediah, whatever his name was. He had more, you know, more to like in terms of a villain than him.
Yeah.
God, like this is. I went on it. We're already like way over.
Yeah, we totally are, but we had to. We had to. So I think we'll wrap it up there. I think any last thoughts with the last 2 minutes, like on who the character could be, or am I going to lead you down another rabbit hole?
Um, it's going to be Professor X, and he's going to
Come on, I thought you were
mind
going to say
the.
Kamala Khan. I thought you were going to say
No,
Kamala
they
Khan.
trust me. If it was Kamala Khan, there would be trumpets, cherubs, lights shining down from the heavens. Um, you would you would literally just have like soy raining down from tears of these people of how
I'm
great.
thinking I'm thinking the cameo might be either Hawkeye or like General what's his name? General Ross or something. It's got to be someone like random.
Nah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Set up Thunderbolt? No, I don't
I
see
don't
it.
know. I'm just saying. Carly
No,
could be on the new Thunderbolts.
I mean Warbird or like to say Wolverine. You're not even casted who Wolverine is. Um, what else is there? Can't have Cable. Is it gonna be Ryan Reynolds just popping up?
Oh my god, that would be amazing, but I highly doubt it.
Ryan Reynolds and his
Breaking the wall, yes, yeah.
unsolved issues with his ex.
Oh boy, oh boy. And on that note, I think we should close
We
because
should
we keep
close
going
and
down these
say,
rabbit holes.
and we should close and say thank you for joining us on our typical Sunday podcast. If you like our content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. If as we continue to drop our weekly podcasts. We are also on popular podcast platforms like Spotify, so please look out for This Is Justice Warriors if you prefer to hear us on an audio only format. And we are on Twitter with our handle at Justice Sith. And Lupia, I guess I'm going to release you to your WrestleMania.
No, it's all good. We can recap later.
We can recap. So that being said, hope to see you on the Sith side.
Bye.